Hi everyone, I'm Dan Murphy, and today on TalkTechToMe, I'm going to let AI decorate my living room. I've let AI do a lot of things in the past. I let it teach me things, I let it build things, so I'm going to let it give it full creative control to decorate my living room. What's the worst that can happen? Okay, first things first, let's set some context. This was my living room. It is essentially a giant L shape. We have the living room here, and then we have the kitchen behind, sort of where the cameraman's taken it from. And then there's a little doorway through into a little conservatory. You have a large sofa on the left-hand side. You have 2 chairs, 2 bookshelves that were cheap, a fireplace, and a TV. And it's this space that I want to essentially modernize and bring to life a bit. First things first, sofa, it's going. It's about 10 years old at this stage, and it's done. Secondly, I want to keep the white walls. I'm not sort of keen on doing something with that there. But over on the right-hand side, everything's to play. I'm not an overly creative person. What you might think about me and all the YouTube channel and all that stuff, no, a lot of that is thought out and methodical. I'm not an interior designer. I wear very bland, generic colours all the time, and I wear them to death. So this was my starting point. I had a rough budget in my head. I also wanted to do as much as I could myself. I'm quite a handy guy. I can build things. I have a shed full of tools, so I wanted to do as much of it as possible. So yeah, this was my starting point. So then I started with some very basic, simple prompts. So this was the image I started with, and I put it into ChatGPT first of all, and then I also put it through Gemini. It would have been Gemini 2.4, 2.5 at the time. I'm recording this several months after I've actually done it. And I asked it, first of all, to show me what new sofas would look like. And so I said I sort of wanted a sofa in colour with the fireplace then as well. So it came up with this one here, which is pretty cool. I love what it done with the dog. It kept the dog in the picture, just made the dog slightly different. I also think it's hilarious that any of the photographs in the picture then as well, it's kept them roughly, but it's massively changed in who they are. Kept the rocking chair, kept the little sofa in there, the little tubby seat in there as well. So this was a solid start. I then asked it to play around with colours a bit more. So I do like this sort of light bluey kind of teal colour, but it went and then put that on the walls. So I said I wanted to go darker, and actually went and kept the sofa the original colour and darkened the walls. And no, far too dark. I want to keep the walls white and keep it nice and bright and airy. So then I started considering. So then I started going on to sofa places and sort of finding sofas, and then I would give it the picture of the sofa and say, put the sofa in the room. So then it came up with this. I love the fact that the dog is, again, slightly different. But yeah, you can start to see now where a more modern, updated, grey version of that sofa would look like. And to be honest, I was a bit underwhelmed. While it is that sofa in the correct environment, it's really bland and boring. And I don't know, there's something about grey sofas. I want a bit more colour in my life. So I paused the sofa thing for a second and started focusing on the right-hand side to where the 2 bookshelves are, and so the chimney breast and the hearth and the TV. And I know I want to do something more in-depth and more colourful with this section then as well. So now, then I changed the angle. So I took a photograph directly looking at the fireplace and the 2 shelves either side. And I want to start playing around with colour. So I know I want to change the colour, like behind the TV. I think it's called the hearth, or the chimney breast, whatever you want to call it. And I wanted to sort of darken it and add a bit of contrast while still keeping sort of the white either side of them as well. And I came up with this. And while I love the colour, I hate the fact that everything is that colour. But it was a good starting point. I'm starting to see now sort of what it can and sort of can't do. So next thing I started to do is sort of give me more versions of this and what it can and can't do. And the next image it came up with, it added shelves. And that really got me thinking, okay, that looks really good. I hadn't actually considered sort of building in units either side of it. I had assumed I was going to use those existing kind of bookshelves. Now they are cheap, and I was actually anticipating to paint them, and I was going to paint them white. But then when I started putting shelves in, that really got me thinking, could I maybe shelve this side and maybe put 2 small units down either side then as well? And yeah, that's exactly what I went for. So we started playing around with that idea more. So we started, giving me different colours. So there it is in white. There's the bottom white, top green, with the green in the background. There's a grey version as well then, where everything is grey, just like the chimney breast and hearth. It was getting quite confused. I would ask it to change the colour of one thing, and it would change the colour of 2 things then as well. Until eventually it sort of got it to a place where I was quite happy with it. And it was this one. Now, granted, Both of the units at the bottom are different heights. That's just the way it sort of does it. But I love the idea that you have a nice grey unit at the bottom where you're going to hide things in. That's where you put like the TV remote and the stuff for the fireplace. Repainting the hearth to that grey colour, sort of freshening it up a bit if it is a bit soot damaged. And then 3 shelves, and 3 shelves of the same green colour that we're going to do the chimney breast. And I loved it. Okay. And so that's what we went with. But I wasn't just done there. I needed to know what colour of green paint that was going to be, because green paint is green paint. I am not a decorator, and there's B&Q down here, there's Homebase, there's a few places like that I can try, but I really didn't know what paint, and I need to sort of be handheld a bit here. And so I asked it, where can I get this paint? And yeah, it gave me 3 or 4 places, and one of them is B&Q, which is about 5 miles from where I live. It gave me the make and the brand, and it actually told me how much roughly I should need to make, how much I should need to get based upon, and I gave the dimensions of what we're working with here. So now I had that colour, I went back to my original image of the room with the one with the dog in it, adorable little beagle, and I told it to apply that paint to the room then as well, and then suggest a sofa based on the changes to the paint and to the walls. And this is what I came up with. I absolutely love what it's done with the sofas. I never would have picked them myself. And now granted, the walls are all that colour. Now it's not going to be that colour. We're going to keep the walls white and just the chimney breast, the green colour. But it really got me thinking about sort of tan or these kind of like leather sort of sofas then as well. I think it adds a warmth to the room. And yeah, that's exactly what we did. After this, I went and priced up all my materials. I went to B&Q, done 2 or 3 runs, got everything that I needed. I'll show you the full list and breakdown of everything that I spent it on. But yeah, next thing I did, I went into building mode. Cue the montage. Now, before the big reveal, a few caveats. I took a full week off work to do this. It was quite intensive, and if you haven't got a background like I do, where my father was a journey teacher for 37 years, and I can call upon him and his knowledge and expertise whenever I want. I also had to make a couple more trips back and forth B&Q. I severely underestimated how much plywood or chip MDF I was going to need. I think I started off with 6 sheets and ended up with probably close to sort of 15 sort of sheets of then as well. So my overall costings for the materials, the paint, and those kind of things was about £500 or so. Sofas, yeah, a lot more. Not going to tell you how much they cost, and they didn't arrive for weeks after we'd actually finished all the interior designing work then as well. But in the end, this is what it looked like. There we are. I am absolutely delighted with the changes. Now, we kept the rug in place because we have 2 dogs and they love to lie on it, and we'll probably get a nicer one in due course. We went for it's actually a 2-seater sofa, even though it looks quite big there, and you can easily fit 3 people on it. The footstool and then the single chair then as well. It was Christmas time when a lot of these pictures were taken, so you sort of little holly and Christmas decorations in the background. But yeah, it's so much warmer. I absolutely love the sofa. It's so comfortable then as well. It adds a bit of colour to the room. We've got more storage. You can do far more with the shelving units then as well. I got a few lamps, and I'm going to put some strip lights in under them then as well. But yeah, AI designed that for me. On to the conclusion. So can AI decorate your house? Yes and no. No, it cannot do it physically, it can't do anything, but yes, it absolutely can help you get the ideas, try out different colours, try out different palettes, try out sofa. You find the sofa you want online, tell it, put it in that room, and it will do it for you. It does so much of the guesswork that you just would have hoped for in the past. I've been using it for everything. I'm actually using it for my office. You notice that there's a giant gap here in the process of doing all my office, so stay tuned. You're going to see a video about AI renovating my office in due course then as well. I would highly recommend using both Gemini and ChatGPT. The reason why I'm saying that is because they're very different. I don't know how fundamentally they are different underneath the hood, but they both produce vastly different results when you give it essentially the same question, same prompt, especially when it comes to this kind of interior design and decorating then as well. Prompt wise, it was very straightforward. It was show me this in this context, brighten up this room, add a new paint here. They're both equally capable, equally competent at doing essentially the exact same thing then as well. But I would recommend using both. You can always get free tokens every day, but having that sort of contrast and being able to see sort of two examples was vastly more beneficial than seeing just one. As always, I would love to hear your conversation, your comments with it as well. And again, I like inviting you into my personal life then as well. I want to sort of show you a bit more about Dan Murphy. I know it's sometimes it can be quite corporate and quite cold, but I'm very human. So I've been Dan Murphy. This is Talk Tech to Me. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.